Now we will learn to defend our privacy in these times of digital media with the help of specialists in the field. Previously, we have listened to the stories from around the world and have met some real people who use the internet to buy, study, research, play, etc. Most of them did not know at first that users' data could be phished, and that's why media and information literacy can help us be alert to these risks. Remzie Shahini Hosaj, professor in the Department of Journalism at the University of Prishtina, is here to help us define the ethical use of data and how privacy can be defended.
Media and information literacy is a set of skills that we use to access, analyze, evaluate, and communicate the information that also empower us to be critical thinkers. Media and information literacy help us to create ethical guidelines of responsibility on being unbiased and telling the truth. New media technologies has enabled us to create the content that contributes to the public exchange and knowledge. So being media literate means also knowing how to be ethical and responsible.
And you are already media literate because we are already in the penultimate module of our podcast. The Mexican librarian Jesús Lau, PhD in Information Sciences, an expert in information literacy and a professor at the Universidad Veracruzana, tells us how to be responsible and careful at the same time.
Yo pienso que una persona que tiene buenas habilidades,
a person who has good media and informational skills, that is, who knows how to use the information produced by the mainstream media, which is abundant, and who also knows how to use academic and scientific information. He is a person who must or will have the ability to respect or know how to use the information in an ethical and responsible way. For example, in the case of a person who is going to publish something, or who wants to say something, they will always have to cite the author of that idea. If I want to use a photograph for a wedding invitation of my daughter or my son, and that photo is a landscape that I liked, you can use it if it is on the internet and says it is free, but still when it is free, I will always have the obligation to say who the author of that photograph is. And the easiest and most summarized way to do it is to put the link of the place where it was obtained. If I cut it from a magazine, I must put the source of the magazine where it was published, because at that moment I am being honest with people. Now, how can we defend privacy? Well, I think that a person who has good media and informational skills is a person who also, he cares and takes care of knowing the fonts that he is using. For example, if I use Facebook, it is very important that I know how Facebook works, because like all the big providers, these companies compile daily information about what we do. If you have a smartphone, that smartphone is a spy that you carry with you, because that cell phone counts the steps you take every day, the stores you buy from, the messages you send. They know what your sexual orientation is. They know how much money you are spending. All your data is compiling by these companies. Right now, the big media and information companies have more information than your own mother. They know our tastes, our political tendencies, our economic power. So if you want to have good informational media skills, learn and worry about who is giving you the information. Behind every action there is an intention. And try to understand what the intention of Facebook, or Twitter or Instagram, or any other provider when is offering you information.
Very often we do share our privacy for free. So a smart way to protect our privacy online is by sharing carefully information, especially personal information on social media. By sharing personal information online, we enable cybercriminals to obtain and identify information and help them identify us and access our information.
So, dear specialists, how can we protect our data and ourselves from an invasion of our privacy?
All companies are obliged to say how they take care of personal data. So it is very important that everyone know these entities for when our rights are violated or inflicted by these organizations. But generally, a civilized country will have a legal framework it will have laws to protect citizens, and those institutions have different names in our countries.
The right to privacy is granted through laws, convention, and declaration. Every country has its own legislation that grants their citizens these rights. One of the main mechanisms is the media and information ethics that sticks to the norms and regulation to help the communication process and hold people accountable.
Between the rights and duties of internet users and providers, what kind of security can we expect for an exchange of information that pleases both parties?
What are the institutional obligations to protect privacy? In general, there are principles. Obviously, this varies from one institution to another. There are institutions that have a very wide coverage, especially in those countries where legal penalties are high. They will take care to protect the data. What are the principles? Generally, the anonymity, that the names of the people are not said. The address of the person must be taken care of for security reasons. For example, someone who wants to do a thesis about people will normally have to commit to saying that they are going to save the anonymity of the people. Likewise, another important piece of information is people's income. So the general principles are that the integrity of people must be respected, above all.
It means that we have to constantly update the ethical procedures and check the privacy policies of the websites and apps because, unfortunately, we are never 100% sure as hackers and pirates are always present in the internet environment.
Ethical use of online data is using easily accessible data but through ethical guidelines. The ethical principles that we used before are no longer applicable, so we should rethink concerns of consent, privacy, and anonymity.
Every organization has a contract or an agreement that they normally do not sign, for example, with Facebook, or when I buy in a department store. Then the violation will be in accordance with the legal framework of that contract. Most of the companies seek to have information about us in order to sell us products or services, then generally the data that is infringed is the person's income, for example. So, I repeat, which are the main infringements? That they give the name, salary, income, and address because that affect our security.
After finishing this course, we won't be able to say that we don't know what risks we have while shopping, playing games, checking emails with promotional sales, downloading applications, or uploading texts and photos on the internet, right? That's why we talk so much about taking good care of our privacy. In this episode, we have studied the concepts and theories on how to defend our data and what our rights are to keep our identity safe. Stay with us because we will be back shortly.
We hope this episode has ignited your interest. Become media and information literate anytime, anywhere, even while relaxing. Download more episodes of this podcast series from our website. Find out more about how UNESCO works with governments, individuals, and communities to foster media and information literacy by visiting our website. Download our many resources and get involved in our programs to help bring key media and information literacy competencies to life. Goodbye, and thanks for listening.